It's time for Class Racing Today, the podcast for the NHRA Class Racing fan. Well, it is still March 2022. This is Class Racing Today. Welcome back to episode 55, classracingtoday.com. If you have any questions or comments, you can email them, classracingtoday@gmail.com. Or if you are watching live via Facebook at the moment, you can chat in the comments, and we try to get to those as much as possible so we can get your commentary on the show as well while we're live. Brian and Bobby, you're back again, as usual. It's weird. I just think it's odd that we've had both of you so consecutively lately.
Well, it is winter, you know. Well, I guess,
right.
is it technically spring yet?
Well, the time changes to this Sunday morning. Time change again. Which, all right, let's talk about that for a minute. It's 2022. Why in the world do we still change our clock? Do you know, like Bobby on the East Coast, do you know why we still change our time?
I have no idea. I just think it's ridiculous. And
I have not had...
When it gets dark early,
Yeah.
it totally is just, it's such a... I just get so tired by 8 o'clock because I feel like it's midnight. So.
I have had zero. I've asked many people, and no one can explain to me why it's necessary at all. I know about Brian, you're in the
Did you ask a farmer? I thought it was their thing.
Well, that's Brian, you're in the ag world. Tell us.
I don't think it's a farmer thing.
It used to be, didn't it?
No, I think it's like a industrial, city, towny type thing. Like we want to get home and get more daylight.
And still have time outside.
Because farmers don't really care what time it is. Like,
well, the crops don't.
You get up, you go to work. When you're done working, you go to bed. You don't care if it's 4 a.m.
Right.
or 3 p.m. Like, it don't matter. I did figure out, so I had a revelation today as I walk out of my house. And one of the biggest miscalculations I think I've had since I've started racing is where to park the race trailer. Like, you know, at the racetrack, that's one of the hardest things to figure out, where you want to park, where you want to pit, how much room you need. Well, like an idiot, you know, I'm building a building, and that's been a year-long fiasco. It's not happening.
You're building it twice. It's fine.
So I actually parked the building on the north side of our barn. Figured it's out of the way. I can move snow. Don't have to worry about it. It's like waiting for the groundhog to show its face. Like, the snow is on the north side of the building, so the sun doesn't hit it, and it's just slowly starting to be visible. Like, I want to get it out of there. I want to do some work and start doing things. And yeah, it's still frozen in a snow cocoon from all the snow that came off the barn, and the sun doesn't hit it. And, I mean, possibly one of the greatest failures I've had of parking a race trailer is where I put that stupid thing. It's kind of frozen to the ground. And
Nice.
next week, though, it's 50s, so I'm hoping that it'll emerge from the darkness. And
That just means it'll be a mud hole.
if I get it out of there, I don't care. It's going into my rented shop, and I can start doing things.
Nice.
Bobby doesn't have issues like that in
No.
the city.
Mm-mm.
Proper snow removal, everything's good.
Right?
That's well, not exactly true. Not where the race cars are, but it's not. You know, we complain about the cold here, but that's what you guys have, and I don't know. But I can't win because I was so looking forward to going to the Gator Nationals this weekend to get into nice 80-degree weather and walk around in some shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm going Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and the weather forecast is like 99% rain Thursday, 98% Friday, and maybe 80-something% Saturday. And then it's only going to be 59 degrees on Sunday. So I think I just totally mushed Florida by booking a trip down there.
So it is your fault. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm going down there, looking forward to being in the sun, get some nice interviews. I got a cool, a new GoPro that shoots 360 video. I want to put in like McNeil Freeman's car and be able to see the 160 mile an hour, you know, Copo climbing on him, you know, the whole way he goes down, the whole time he's going down the track for the 15 seconds he goes down the track. And I was looking forward to all of this, and my dreams are just up in smoke right now.
Now you can put it inside the trailer, and you can have interviews inside the trailer and see all sides.
Yeah, we'll have to try it. We're going to see. Craig might have to show me how to edit 360 video, by the way. It looks like it's going to be a quite a challenge.
Your machine may not handle it
from what I'm
well.
reading.
You might need to upgrade to the new Mac Studio they just came out with. yesterday.
I don't like Mac. They don't have a right click. If you don't have a right click, I
It
can't deal
does. You
with
just have to turn it on. It's not that hard. Come on, I do it all the time.
There's an on button for that. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's an alternate click.
You know, when you were talking about turning things on, how about the race last weekend, Bobby? Have you ever seen a hat trick? Has that ever happened?
I don't think, like, it's got to be so rare. Now, I did hear 1985 Winter Nationals, possibly. Kip Martin may have won class, qualified number one, and won super stock. So anyways, this is stock, or maybe that was stock. I don't remember. I feel like I was told that happened, or he told me that personally that happened because he was very proud of that. But regardless, if that's the case, how many years is that? Almost 40 years ago. So Tim Barrett's going to go in the history books. That's for sure.
Well, and he did it in my all-time favorite Chevy car ever built. Like, Chevy has not had anything that even close to that type of car ever. Like, best-looking Chevy ever, hands down.
Hands down. And he's flying now too, and he's in G-Stock automatic. Let's see who he beat for the class trophy while we're at it. Kenny Anderson, he beat, who's a Florida native. So Tim just came down from New York, busted out an 018 light and went a 1089 with a 4. And Kenny Anderson was 113 on the tree. That didn't do him any favors. And he went 1111 at 117. So Tim even let off the throttle to rub salt in the wound when he coasted to victory. I had to race Tim before. I got a flat tire when I was pulling up to the lanes to race Tim. He had to wait for me, which was very gentlemanly of him. It was the day after I got engaged. That was my engagement present, getting a flat tire on the way up to the lanes to race Tim Barrett.
Was your future father-in-law there?
Father-in-law was not. Fiance was there, and
throwing some
and
jacks under your tires.
His father fixed and plugged the tire in record timing because I should really learn how to do that. You know, he does it real quick with plugs the tire with gets the striker out, melts the thing, pushes the thing in. You know me, I don't know all the proper terminology. The thing goes in the thing and melts, and I fill it up with as much air as I possibly can, and I get out there, and Tim Barrett kicked my ass anyway. So I should have just stayed home.
Possibly you could get a sponsor from Fix-A-Flat or that Flexi Seal. Like, you just put the goo in your tire.
Well, I feel bad. We just keep talking about Tim Barrett, and we should bring him in. I mean, he could commentate on the story I just told.
He could gloat in person.
Tim Barrett, all the way from New York, but he's down in Gainesville, Florida right now, happily awaiting the Gator Nationals so he can pull off a repeat. Tim, how you doing, sir?
Very good, Bobby. You guys should have your own TV show. You guys are funny, but doing great. We're at a dream weekend. It's I'd like to say it hasn't sunk in. I don't want it to sink in, just because, like you said, this is just so amazing, and so happy, and so it's such an honor to be on this show. It's a really one of the highlights.
No, we appreciate you coming on, Tim, and doing it from your motorhome. So that going out of your way makes us feel good, and we're happy to have you on. Let's talk about this car. Brian said it's your favorite. It's his favorite Chevy. So you have a '69 Camaro, but you're not doing the whole 396 deal. Your car has a 350 in it. Is that right?
Yes, it's 255 horse 350, but it is original number matching Z28. I have the 302 and the 4-speed, the carburetor, the intake, the pistons, everything at home in the basement. Originally, we planned on back in, actually I started in 72 with the car, with the 302, but with the stock transmission, and the stock transmission has a 220 first gear in it. It's a close ratio. So when I'd take off from the line, really had to twist it up to get past that first gear. Yeah, I've had it since 72.
Wow. Now that 350, 255, what does NHRA rate that at?
280.
280. So in G stock automatic, what's your minimum weight have to be?
3250.
Okay.
And we're running about 3320, 3325.
Yeah, now you got a power boost over the last 2 years. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I read somewhere that you got Glenn Briglio involved of B&B, what, machining or something. I think that's
Yeah.
the name of the
Auto
business?
machine shop in Oceanside, Long Island. Yeah, we met. Well, I've known Glenn for quite a while, and 2 years ago we pitted next to each other at Indy, and we were talking. I needed my engine needed to be freshened, so I needed somebody to hone it. And usually, any of the really good shops, you drop your engine off, and they get to it in months if you're lucky. So, anyways, Glenn, we were talking to him, and I told him about the honing, and he said, "Jesus, if you want, bring the block down to my shop." He said, "We'll set up a date." And he said, "I'll check all the clearances, the tolerances, and I'll hone it, and you can bring it home." So we had that set up. When I took the engine apart, thank God, it had a bunch of scoring in the bottom of all the cylinders down where the skirts of the piston. So I called Glenn. Glenn asked if we could afford a SHP block, and I said, "Yup." And he said he'd get me one, machine it. And then after we thought, I said, if he's good, and then he talked us into a Callie's crank. So after time went on, and I talked to Linda, and she's my inspiration, my crew chief. Can't say enough because we're a whole package. But anyways, I talked to Glenn, and those guys are good. Him and Henry, oh my God. Henry's been fast with this, and that's part of the knowledge is Henry Coons has been running this combination for about 40 years, and he's been super fast. Anyways, we asked Glenn if he'd do the short block. He said he would be honored to. Then we thought about it, and I said, asked him if he would do the whole engine. And I felt very comfortable, because Glenn, and he doesn't act big, and Glenn is super fast, super fast with his Camaro. So he did, and we dynoed it on Scott Merkel's dyno, and Scott's dyno is honest, and the engine put out, I think when we picked it up last year, 427 horsepower. I thought it was low until we made the first pass, and then I said no, and some other people said no. Ford actually, we're shooting for 440. We're up to 436. Yeah, the car flies. Oh, the car. And we're really not, we want to protect the index anyways. And most of the races we go to are either divisionals or nationals, and we've got a bunch of them this year to do. So, but we can get by half track, with the car. And we went a 677, I think, half there for first round against Morgan Wilson for class. But yeah, real happy with them.
We did.
We had line shift in Gainesville this weekend, right? So you were good to go there.
Oh yeah, thank God, because we got a couple phone calls. You know how the guys are with, we're going to get hit with horsepower, and that seems to be the niche in one of the divisions that, running weight, oil, and protecting the index. And it's funny because none of the other division guys, when we're in Division 4, Jimmy Hidalgo, never talked about protecting the index, but still running it, keeping track of the averages.
When you did a good job too, like you never went, I don't think you ever went 120 under. I mean, you drove amazing and protected at the same time.
Oh, thanks. And, to be honest, I let off on that run. I probably would have run a 120 under if I didn't let off, but I was ahead. And I never thought about number one, but last year at Topeka, and this year had the same feeling at no problem. Really, really comfortable in the lanes. I used to get where they still, when they say stock to the lanes, I got to go in the bathroom, I got to pee, and I don't do a teaspoon, but it's one of them little nervous things. But I'm super calm now, really. And when I look at the list and the people that we ran this weekend, really amazed at who we beat.
Well, just the awareness of your car and knowing where you're at, and just track awareness and car awareness like that really showed.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
You just got a nice message from Dave Lay, the Division I Tech Director. It was great to see you at the scale so many times on your way to your win. Congrats again, Tim.
Thank you, Dave. Dave's a great guy. Dave works hard. Him and Gloria. Gloria was the same way up in the staging lanes, you know, and Dave, every time at the scales, I could see it. He wanted to do a fist pump and say, hey, Tim, Division I, go. But he keeps professional. He does his job, doesn't show any favors or until afterwards. Then you know, it's, and which that's one of the great things about this sport. It's the people, the families, the officials, even down here in Division II. There's a couple guys that are a little scruffy. They, you know, you got to be in the right lane, and which they got a job to do. But afterwards, this one guy, boy, he was all smiles, shook my hands, and really complimented afterwards when we went up to get our picture taken. And really, really amazing. It's we thought our Topeka win was good, and but this one here, and I know we can do it again. And like I said, guys like me aren't supposed to do this. We're supposed to be the guys that come to the track. We if we go 1, 2, 3 rounds, you know, that's good. If we get in the money, we go home. We drive 1,000 miles and we go home with a third round and we get $75. You know, yay, we won. We might be able to go out to dinner, but now it's totally changed. It's not that my head isn't going to get too big. It's fun, and you know, racing you, Bobby, that time with the soft tire. When I looked at it, I said I don't know if I said to Linda, does this guy run these tires that soft? And then I kept looking, and it was getting lower, and I said, I got to say something. I said, because you know, you guys, you and your family, super nice people. And I said, can't. And then when we said, and you were running around and your dad was going to get the tire, I said, just, you know, hang in there. We'll be the last ones out. I don't want to push nothing. We'll take time if we have to, you know, make sure that we get the run in. And we did. And another memory of, you know, our experiences. And Linda and I are, oh my God, we've got so many things. Every race we go to. We were at Jimmy Hidalgo's a couple of weeks ago. What a great guy he is. Country dog and his wife. Linda got to meet Troy Landry of the Swamp People, and great time. Really, we're humbled, really humbled.
I can only imagine what a hot mess Bobby was while that tire was going flat and his dad was trying to fix it. Like he's pretty wound pretty tight. Is my impression. That's just like, yeah, I don't know how'd you handle that, Bobby? Were you nervous?
Yeah, obviously, but my dad's a magician. Like he's on the job. I know everything's gonna be fine. I felt bad because I'm making Tim wait though, you know, and I was pitted out in, you know, Delaware as it was. So by the time I got up there, stock had already started kind of running, and then, you know, I put the pressure on my dad and the patience on Tim, and you know, part of my job is to make it look like I'm doing something, so I have to run around, you know.
Is it like the Chinese fire drill where you get out and run around the car 3 times and hop back in?
Run, hurry up, just Windex the window. I got to make it look like I'm doing something, you know.
His legs were really moving for a little guy. You know, they can really move around like on the basketball court. But in a way, well, I really felt bad because really wanted you to make it not. Afterwards, I thought I should have said something earlier to you, and but it all went. It was fine.
Yeah, it was
But
fun.
I 1-1. Did I beat you on that one? But you beat me another time. We're 1-1 now.
I think we raced again toward the end of the year at the Nationals in Stock Eliminator.
Yeah.
First or second round, and you gave me the nice little red light gift, the red light special.
I remember that now. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool. Like I said, you don't deserve to win, and I would argue that, you know, you're doing this and you're putting in the time and you're trying to make your car faster. Like, if anybody deserves it, it's people like you that work hard and just keep persevering. And I think it's pretty cool to see other people can win. Like, that's what I like about this, talking to other people. Like, I still remember one of the interviews we first started with Gary Hampton. You know, like, there's people out there that probably don't have, I mean, not that it's low budget, but, you know, there's definitely different areas of money getting put into cars and different experiences, and it's cool to see that any given day the guy that puts in the work and is the most consistent gets to bring home the check. And it's not necessarily who spends the most dollars or who has the most sponsors, but it's cool just to see that anybody can roll up there and it's anybody's race. You just put in the work, and hard work and determination always perseveres.
Yeah, definitely. We know there's some, you know, people that their main goal is qualifying number one, win a class, and I always thought, and they're happy with that if they go a few rounds. Some go quite a few rounds, and then I thought, man, to qualify number one and to win class and to win the event, not to. It's quite an accomplishment. It's sinking in a little bit, and but we never planned on it. It wasn't like, you know, the people that can have a fast combination, one that you know, might be a little soft, or but that's all they're happy with that. And most of us that drag race and stock, super stock, all the classes, you know, we want to win. And like I said, now we feel, and Linda tells me, like I said, she's the best, that we deserve it. We work hard. We hate how many people put their engine and transmission in out in the snow behind a car trailer on plywood. But we do it. Only takes a few hours, and that's what we want. And it's paid off. But now, no matter what happens in our drag racing, you know, we've got these memories, and especially this one. This might be the standout one. I know we can win a national. I really know we can win a national and more divisionals. So this one we're really enjoying.
How did you start? Like, when did you start racing? What introduced you to the sport?
Back in 1969, a buddy of mine, we hitchhiked over to a local drag strip, South Glens Falls Dragway. We were 15. So we got there, and it was a dirt pit, sand. It was one that got shut down, I think, in the late 80s because of PCBs. GE used to their waste PCB oils, and we thought it was great. They'd come over and dump their oil in the sand down the return road. And anyways, that's where I saw the cars. And to be honest, I was always a Mustang fan. I always liked Ford Mustang, but there was probably a dozen 69 Z28s there. And when I heard them things take off and I saw them, there was all different colors. It became my favorite, but I never thought this one would become available. And so that's where I got the first taste of it.
When did you get your car? How long have you had this?
I bought it from my brother in 1972. It came from our local Chevrolet dealer. It was built in November of '69, and a friend of my brother's bought it. He was a big guy. He was probably, say, 6'4", maybe 300 pounds. So a guy that size trying to get into a 69 Camaro, it's tough. So 1970, the Monte Carlo came out. So this guy went up, traded the Z28 in for the Monte Carlo, and my brother knew that, so he went up to the dealer and bought the Camaro. He paid, originally it was $3,400. My brother got it for $26,000, and he drove it for a couple of years. Then he went into the Marines when Vietnam was going on, and it was kept at my mother's house. So of course I fell right in love with it. I used to wax it, didn't drive it, but I used to wax it every weekend, and we used classic car wax. So it'd take a couple hours to put it on, and it'd take another day to get it off. So he came home, or is about to come home, and now I'm 18 and 1972. And I asked him, I said, would you be interested in selling it? He said, hey, yeah, sure. I said, how much? And he said, $1,800. And I think I say that $1,800 because I've had some offers for it, because it's number matching, a substantial amount of money. But I got it in 72, took it over to the drag strip, got my butt kicked because run just the street tires, the polyglass GT tires it would just smoke them, but I thought that was the greatest. And then got a set of headers for it. Then it sounded nice, and NHRA came out with a rule with the cheater slicks. And McCreary, I can remember the McCreary, they had 2 lines on them. Once we put them on, then it really started going. But it was factored a little bit light at first, and then it gradually got factored to where I was running against the big blocks and the Mopars and the Mustangs, and but it still held its own. But that's how I got the car and how I started. 1972, $1,800, and that was the start.
Well, you probably had to sell it at a discount because you had so much of the paint wore off from waxing it every weekend.
Well, if you're familiar with classic car wax, it's a paste, and like I said, and I would put it on. I put it on heavy to make sure that I got enough wax on there. But when you put that stuff on heavy, and I learned, don't do it in the sun. You almost need a grinder to get it off. But yeah, tons of memories. This car, and now it's just amazing.
So it's pretty much the first car you ever took down the track. Then is the one you're still driving today.
Yeah, I run it with the 302 until 1976, and had a relationship end, so I quit. Got through that, and then back in about 1995, I think it was, my little sister came down. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and the car I was driving on the street, it was restored, and it really looked nice. These cars, and I really like this Daytona yellow, but I donated bone marrow to her, and she survived. She made it to 50 weeks, and I wasn't drag racing. The car was just, just leading a boring life. And so we did bone marrow transplant. She relapsed. We did another bone marrow transplant, and it was 74 days approximately. Went out to Dana-Farber to visit her, and she said, would you do me a big favor? She said, enjoy life. And she said, and she had given up. I said, I will. And so I left, went home, and Dana-Farber's out in Boston, Mass, about 230 miles from. So a few days later, my mother called, my sister passed. So I really heartbroken, but boy, it hit me. And within a week, I got on Jegs, and I ordered a set of slicks, Firestone slicks, 28.5-inch, tall. Got back into it. And boy, I'll tell you, did I have a hard time. It was trying to get the combination. I wanted Stock Eliminator, and then a good friend, my first engine builder, Dave LeBrun, He kind of took me under his wing. I was going to run it with the 302 and the 4-speed, and Dave said, even with the Jericho and the clutches and the 90s, you still break parts. And he said, if you don't have a lot of money, he suggested the 255 horse 350 with a power glide. And that's what I did. And we struggled at first couple of years. And then a good friend, Andy Kanash, he said, if you take a quart of oil out, you can run a tenth faster. And I was running right on the index then, 1245 in H, and 1250. So, and we're real familiar with not being able to run the index in the past, but that's how we got back into it. So and then we just progressed.
That would have been like 97-ish time frame?
Yeah. And then a friend, Frank Tantillo, said he had a Chevelle. It was G automatic. He said, Tim, don't do it. He said, this is a drug addiction. He said, once you get doing it, he said, it's like sticking the needle in your arm. He said, you just keep spending more money to go faster and faster. And initially we did that. We went to Tom Boucher at Dave's, was famous for the big block 396. Small block. He had one guy, Tony Mello, was running fast, but Tony was done, and we were running with old combinations, and Tom Boucher kicked us up a little bit and was running good. And then unfortunately I ran a set of rods too long and broke a rod and destroyed that engine. And then I think that was when I first met Linda in 2005, she says. But and then it's quite a sport. It's like golf. Tell people, it's, if you do it, you need to get some lessons. It's this is so tough. And I look at the list here with the guys, we raced against this past weekend. 5 of them: Brad Floyd, Blake Hickman, Tommy Turner, Tim Stickles, and then Randy Wilkes. And I thought, Jesus God, give me some of these guys, they red light. I need a couple red lights, a breakage, one no show, and a buy, and then red light in the final.
Where's Fazio when you need him? I'm sorry, Bobby.
Bobby's tough. I'll tell you, Bobby's tough.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. Now, Linda, it sounds like Linda's right there.
I'm here.
She's
Linda,
here.
you can get in the camera if you want. We'd like to talk to you too.
We want to know how you calmed him down during all those rounds. Like, what was your secret to keep him on track?
My secret for calming him down is I give him a kiss, and then I walk away, and I say, good luck, or I'll say, do well. It's better if I'm not there, because I have a hard time being calm.
You do know there's going to be a lot of people looking for kisses now this weekend. So just a lot of people listen to this. You just prepared yourself to be handing them out. So.
Well, I have a friend that she kisses her husband, then she kisses the car. So, we do what we have to do.
Linda's Kissing Booth. Come see it for $20. Well, that's awesome. You guys, that's pretty cool that you can do it together. Like, what's your most enjoyable part? Like, is it the racing or just the friendship, or?
Probably all of it, because even with traveling the way we do, the preparation, because we get into some of our trips are 4,000 or 5,000 miles with the loop that we do in the races. And so we've got to get everything ready. We got to make sure. And then we don't have a vehicle to drive around while we're at the track, but there's always somebody here that offers. Chris Houle was a great help at Indy a couple of years ago, and a lot of friends. But it's the whole combination. Every race we go to, we meet somebody new, and there's such great people. When we stayed at Hidalgo's, that was great last year. Hooters, the father, the two sons, and we met Lance Line and Lawrence Line, and Linda
Jason
met
Line.
Jason Line, and she hugged Jason Line, and she hugged Jason Line, and
Cruz Pedregon.
She kept hugging Jason Line.
yeah, hugging Jason
Line.
Line, and then Jason said, we saw Jason again at, I don't know, Columbus or someplace, and he saw Linda coming, and Jason's a great guy. He laughed and he said, "Are you stalking me?" And quite funny. And Jason got another hug, and Linda loves it. This sport is so family friendly and racer friendly, and from, like I said, the officials, Alan Reinhart, he's a sweetheart. Bob Unkefer, he's a great guy. Bob is, and the different, Will Tharp in Division 4, 5,
I don't remember his name.
3. No, he's the director of Division 3. Great guy. Gary Summers, our good friends Chip and Lori Carta in Kentucky. We have
Jimmy and Pam Marshall, and Barb and Mike McMahon. There's so many people that are there that have helped us for whatever we need. They're always there.
And then the racing, the competitors, and it's gotten so people recognize us. Last weekend, of all people, Jeff Strickland came up, and he was looking at the car. He said, "Man, this car is flying." And I'm looking at it. I said, "This is Jeff Strickland. He's talking to me. It's like." And then he said, "I'd love to watch that car leave the line." When we're at Bella Rose, Jerry Emmons, he came over. We had Gary, first round, and Gary, super nice guy, and he said they've been watching and complimented, and then afterwards, shake your hand, and the people, when we're at this level, there's a difference between like just bracket racing where you go, you run, you go home on a Sunday. People respect. And again, we're really humbled for what we do. I just wanted to, when we started doing this last year, we did 21,000 miles, and people were kind of famous just for doing that. And so many people said, we dream of doing the races. We did 12 nationals, 13 divisionals, and 2 national opens. And now we need to learn how to do the races for the points, because we kind of messed up Division 1 points. We did the 8 events. We could only count 3. And then we had some other higher points races where we did good, but they didn't count because we had our 8 races in. Most of them were out of division. So this year we're going to do, we've got our scheduled stuff is more divisional. You can do that. Oh my God. She's got bad leg. She's got to have surgery on her leg when we get home. And she can't, about her slipping there a year ago, and she shattered her femur last year here at the baby Gators. So she's still this will be the 3rd surgery on her leg.
Oh, wow. I know it was her birthday this past weekend, correct? So that was a hell of a birthday present.
Yeah. And then Alan says I made her walk back to the pits after I got which she was walking back to the golf cart.
I did hear him say that. I was laughing.
Was funny. Hey, dude. But honestly, there wasn't room because I had a big check and I had 2 Wallies sitting in the front seat. So I would have come back and picked her up with the golf cart once we got but we're just truly blessed. It's
or Reinhardt could have given her a ride back if he was
standing
there watching, doing nothing.
Because hey, Linda, wait, come on up here. I wanna hug.
So you guys are doing the racetrack living. Here's a odd question, but what's your go-to meal when you're at the racetrack that you have every time?
Oh gosh,
chili,
we don't.
Hot dog, hamburgers.
Yeah, probably chicken.
Mac and cheese.
chicken. I love hamburgers. We go out to dinner at a seafood place, and I'll order a burger and French fries because I know, some of these places, if you're not familiar with them, you can leave hungry. But Linda's she's a really good cook. When I first met her, I weighed 140 pounds. And a year later, I topped 203 or 4, I think it was. But we both came out of situations that, days we didn't look for.
Tim, you hit your mute button. So, Tim, you're still muted. So find the mute button there on your screen that muted your audio. There you go. You should be good now.
We had somebody phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody tried calling. But even when we met, Linda and I went to school together, and I was wicked shy. If I was 20 years ago, I would have never done this interview. I couldn't. I'd be too bashful to. But now, but Linda and I went to school together. We graduated together in '72 and went our own ways. And we met on Match.com how long ago? 2005. And we didn't know who each other was. And then after we talked for a little bit, we found out we went to school together, graduated, and our first date. And I've never had a hot flash. And our first date, I bought some flowers. We met behind our local mall, and then we were going out to dinner. And I thought I was a big guy. I had flowers, and I don't know if I had candy, but when it got close to time she was supposed to be there, oh boy, I got the biggest hot flash. And I said, what the heck is this thing? And she came up, and I went back to my days of bashfulness. I stood there with the flowers in my hand, and she said, oh, are these for me? And I go, yeah. And, memories that are really great.
What was the restaurant you took her to?
Olive Garden.
Fancy.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive you remember that.
Yeah.
Well, that, like I said, I'd like to forget the hot flash and the I don't want to say dumbness, but acting where I couldn't speak. But it all worked out because we've been great together. I'm not religious, and I'm starting to lean because something happened at Topeka last year. A really super calmness, and when we won, and then we've been thrown some really tough. Austin Williams in the final, and when we got towards the finish line, I'm looking at Austin's light on the wall, and I said, I ain't going, but we were so close, and then my light came on, and then this race here, the whole season, the whole start, I've been so comfortable, so calm, and I don't want to say I don't understand it, but even in the lanes, I used to get, oh my God, so nervous, and hurry up, let's run this. And then in the final there against Randy, if the super streeter didn't blow his engine, and we had to sit there for 10, 15 minutes, and never fazed me one bit. And then when we made the run, I got to cut a light, and we won.
That's great. That's maturity right there, Tim. You got a lot of runs under your belt, and you're experienced. So
thank you.
I wouldn't imagine you would be, nervous at all anymore anyway. But considering that you've hit basically almost every track on the circuit, what's your favorite one? I mean, pretend it's 8 days ago and you haven't won the Baby Gators yet. What's your favorite track or nicest track that you think we should all see someday?
Favorite track is this one here, Gators. It's the weather, the track. It's really a nice track, and that would be the top one. But other ones, Bowling Green. I like Indy, But Indy, where we pit with a good friend now, Ben Wenzel, Dave and Ben Wenzel. And he called us last year. We were pitted and, really honored. He said, would you save us a spot? And so we have a good relationship with Ben and his wife. Linda says Norwalk because free ice cream. And I think they're all, Epping is good. Lebanon Valley is unique. Atco is nice. Maple Grove, I like Maple Grove. And then got into Virginia. Virginia is nice.
So it's pretty
You got
safe
out
to
to
say.
the West Coast?
We're supposed to be doing the Western Swing with Pam and Jim Marshall this year. Hopefully, it's the diesel fuel price is getting up there. We'll still do it because I think if we don't do it this year, we may never do it. The way things are going, it's really sad. And there's a guy coming around here with a tanker, diesel, $5 a gallon, filling, motors, homes up that have been sitting. So Brainerd, one track, I like Brainerd. Brainerd, if it's flat, when you come into staging lanes, the staging lanes, when you get up close to the water box, it's really wide and looks like a parking lot almost. And but Brainerd is nice. The people there are fantastic. Real security is wicked at Brainerd. You got to have the wristband. You can't go no place. And then they have that 200-acre where all the crazy people are. The zoo, Linda said, the same weekend. And one other nice thing about Brainerd, they have Boone's Farm outside the track at the local convenience store for $3.99 a bottle. And they have a lot of it.
That's because of the zoo.
Probably.
Like when you actually go to the zoo, there's the little thing you put the money in so you can feed the animals. That's what the Boone's Farm is at the gas station.
Okay. You're from that area then.
Yeah, that's our home. That's basically my home NHRA track. So I'm about 3 hours from there. So
yeah, it's we were over in the back where I guess a hurricane or tornado, and it blew and it was a little sandy. There isn't much grass growing yet.
back there in the loop.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we had a great time there last year. Other than we run into that Mopar G automatic that flies. But this year, I won't push it. Saving the index for any heads-up class.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that you like pretty much every track you've been to, going by the list there.
Yes. Yeah. There's none that I could really say I don't like because everyone has its unique setup and the people running it. Oh, New Media. I like New Media. It's a little slow in Pennsylvania. It's one of the cleanest, best mode tracks, on tour. No problem. No problem is great. We had issues there a week ago with traction. Lee Zane was there, and we did one run, and we did a little wheel stand, and the car headed for the wall. I got into the painted part, and boy, the car was and I had to let off. But other than that, No Problem is really nice, super nice people at No Problem.
We got sidetracked and started talking about racing when we were talking about food. And did Jimmy take you to the crawfish place that I hear about all the time? Did you guys eat crawfish?
We went over to Troy Landry's restaurant, and Troy Landry was there, but you never guess what did I get? Burger. Yeah, I got a burger. Everybody else they can keep them crawfish. What we do with crawfish in upstate New York, we use them for bait. These guys pop them open, they get the little piece of meat out, and I'll tell you, they can get that out of there fast. Watch Cooter. Yeah, and Jimmy was cracking them open, giving them to me and Jimmy Marshall. But the stuff I really like is what did we have last year on the dish when we first got? Oh, I can't think of it. At no problem, right? Pulled in.
Oh, jambalaya.
Jambalaya, cheese 'em. That's really good. But I don't like too much spicy stuff.
Yeah, that's all I hear about. He's like, you got to come down here and have the crawfish. You got to come down here and have the crawfish. I'm like, I don't know. I like my beef.
You'd have to experience it once because Jimmy does a great job. Jimmy is such a host. And yeah, we had the crawfish boil there. He did a sack of them, which is 40 or 50 pounds. They just put newspapers down, dump the crawfish in the middle of the table, and help yourself, along with onions and potatoes and sausage and.
Well, now we're making everybody hungry. Like, good thing it's gonna be lunchtime out there for you guys soon. Have you ever thought about putting a stick in the car again?
No. Only, well, yes. When we retire from drag racing and putting the 302 and the 4-speed back in, but I love the stick, to be honest. I enjoyed it. It kind of broke my heart when I went to the Power Glide with the 350 because honestly, there's nothing like shifting a car going down the track, and especially with the transmissions we have nowadays. I don't want to say they're bulletproof, but the only thing when they break. Automatics break, but yeah, at my age, let me say I turned 68 next week. So this combination we got, the automatic, the Metric 200 that Jack Sapanic built for us is wicked. He did a fantastic transmission, and we're very fortunate because between the transmission and the converter, we broke Jack's transmission, but that was inevitable because we had so many runs on it. But it wasn't a huge breakage. But the converter we sent to Frank Lupo, and when Jack redid the transmission, we got it back. And like us stockers, hopefully it's pretty close to what we need. And boy, Jack and Frank, I'll tell you, nailed it with Glenn Briglio's engine. This thing is, in decent air, a 1070 is no problem. And anybody that wants to look at this engine, anything on it, more than happy to show it to them because it's, really an honest setup.
Did the 350, 255 come with a power glide? Is that all that came with? A power glide?
I think so.
So then up until what, like 5 or 6 years ago, you would have had to run the power glide, but now you're allowed to run the 3-speed?
Yeah. NHRA changed the rule, in maybe 2000, mid-2000, around there. And then I don't know if it was Lenny Cruteau that started building the Metric 200s, but he was with Lupo, and I'm pretty sure him and Lupo were together and bought one of them Metric 200s over the Power Glide. And nothing against Power Glides, but you could bring a snack with you when you shift the Power Glide. You take off, it leaves, and they're consistent, really consistent. But the one that I had, I broke it, and it was a pretty good Power Glide that Dave LeBrun got me the converter and the Power Glide, and it worked good for a while. But once we got introduced to the Metric 200, that really made a difference. And then it was fun to drive. And then the goal was because if you remember, Barry Parker used to, with his 69 Camaro, boy, he'd put that on the bumper, and everybody was wondering, and Kenny Mealy does a wheelie. People were wondering, how the hell are these guys doing it? And with our car, we've had so many people look at the back. We still run The original Lakewood Slapper bar from 1972 that I ran, the only thing I did was cut it and extend it so it hit under the eye of the leaf spring. And but the rest of it, multi-leaf. Most of the springs in it are from 1968, the multi-leaf from the Z28. People are, guys, it's funny, the guys that look underneath there and they scratch their head and they look at me, and then because I guess we were pretty impressive with leaving the line this weekend with the car coming up. And when the guys looked at one guy, Houston Rakeys, is it? Houston went over and looked at it. God damn, he said, buddy of his, in fact, it might have been Austin Elvey, said, go look underneath that freaking Camaro. Look at his suspension. And but we ain't changing a thing. This car ain't changing. We ain't changing nothing on that.
It looked good on the TV, on the big screen, every time it left the line.
Thanks.
It was carrying them out there at least, 60, 70 feet? You had to be taking the 60-foot cone on the back bumper.
Yeah, there was 3 times, I think, we tripped the 60-foot with the back tires.
Whose shocks are you running?
The front are Sandhoffs, and the back are oh gosh, I'd say AFCO, but they're Competition Engineering. I'm sorry, Competition Engineering on the back, and Sandhoffs on the front. And what a difference those Sandhoffs made.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Definitely helps the car land nice and smooth without a lot of bouncing around, and just controls the landing. I mean, they say wheelies are like wasted motion and stuff, but you have to. You got to do them. It's just so much fun.
You know, somebody was telling me that a couple guys said that you're losing 200 or 300, but my theory is when you leave the line, the back tires are always going to be moving. So if your front tires come up, your back tire, unless your back tires stop to let the front tires come down, then it takes off. But my theory is the back tires are constantly moving. As long as they're moving and the front will catch up to the back tires, then it's going to be the same distance. Maybe I'm wrong, but Brian Oak said, make your car lift as high as it can, because he said I don't know if he experimented when he had his Camaro with the 255. He said this combination you want to lift, and it might help to me if you don't have as much weight, that you're pushing if the front comes up. I wasn't good at science, so. But just looking and thinking about it kind of makes sense. If you're down flat, Pro Stock can do that without doing a wheelie. But if we're trying to take off and we're trying to push that 3,300 pounds straight forward, and again, the back tires are the ones that are doing it. The front tires have nothing other than the starting line and the beams and each increment. But to me, the back tires are. So I'm going to keep doing them. We're having a set of wheelie bars made. I could tone it down with just the shocks, because the Sandhoffs, I could tighten them up and it wouldn't lift at all. So we're going to spend a little bit of money because we've had a lot of people really, say how nice it looked. And it draws a little bit of attention, and that's what we need in stock. The people, yes. We get the old timers, and something to get a little bit. We'll never be the show, but at least we can be entertaining.
That's my goal. We want to be the semi-show then, if that's the best we can do. I wish they would let me announce a round or two, because I really want to explain some things to the crowd if they're there. Which, very disappointing to see. Gainesville, the crowd at the Baby Gators was embarrassing to me. I don't know why the track couldn't do something better to get more people in, especially given the weather was fantastic.
Yeah, there was. I looked there a couple times, and geez, I don't know if there's 15, 20 people on the right side, and on the left side, I think I saw one day there was one person sitting up there. Yeah, it's kind of, but yeah, but then
it's like they gave up. It's like the track just gives up and just doesn't care. Just whatever we get off the admission or the entry fees, and let's just get this event, over with. I mean,
yeah.
Why you're not having $5 or $10 spectators in, or free carloads or something? It's beyond me.
What was the word in the pits as far as fuel and that stuff? Do you think that's holding some people back?
Talking to me?
Yeah, just like, what was the talk in the pits as far as like with fuel prices? I wonder if that had anything to do with keeping people away.
Yeah. Some of the guys have said they're going to scale back with the way the prices are. But I keep saying, I told them, who knows what's going to happen the end of the year or next year. We may not be able to go at all. Hopefully, I don't want to think that way, but we have a limit. If diesel gets up $10 a gallon, that's really going to cut us back. We'll still go local Division I, but I would imagine that a lot of guys would, quit. Kind of like the COVID thing, that amounted to, and some people were tragically lost because of that. But if they'd done the COVID thing right, as human beings, a lot of people would have survived with the medication that's available that they didn't make. So in the pits here, yeah, guys, probably 50% said they're not going to change. They'll keep going because we just love this sport so much. And there's going to come a time when we can't do it. And unfortunately, but fortunately, in our later part of life, we're able to do this and do it where we have a good motor home. We can do the fuel price. We're not rich, but and we don't have a super good retirement, but I know how to manage money and don't spend it foolishly. But I think for a while, guys are going to keep going with. I think few pulled out. Well, the weather was a big thing, though.
So we just had a comment. There was no charge on Thursday for spectators and only $15 for Friday.
Yeah, it's fun. It's sad because if they would have had half a dozen of those street war cars here, I'll bet you they would have drawn something, late afterwards. Maybe that's what they should have done. They could have had after we did qualifying, could have had. Somebody was talking about that. They were thinking NHRA of those guys, Big Joe. I don't watch it, but they said when they have those events, a lot of people go to watch them. Guys put on a show, but I don't remember who it was. But they said they were thinking about mixing them in to the show a little bit. Of course, they'd probably do it with a national instead of. Like here after we got done with qualifying, I'll bet you they could have pulled in a few thousand people if they had those guys.
Is it because people enjoy that racing, or is it because that racing association advertises better and makes people aware that they're going to be there?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like pickup trucks. We used to years ago and down south. People lean on the back. They might be drinking a beer, or they lean on the truck. And our way, the dirt track, I'm amazed at how many people go to watch them guys go around in circles in the dirt. And when they leave, their vehicles are covered with dirt. They got to go home, take a shower. I went to one of them, and I was chewing dirt for 3 days in my teeth. But they get the people in, and I don't know. And we're drag racing. It's a car show. The people, the rigs, especially, I'm amazed at the rigs that guys have got now. The stackers, the tandem axle, yeah, it's really grown. But the spectators, I don't think we'll ever have them at a divisional level, unless they do something to.
Well, it is possible because Norwalk gets them. and I think there's like one or two maybe other divisionals that get them. You can get them if you want, and that's where they have to. That's where they got to decide if they want spectators or not. And it's not that difficult. Promote it if you want.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I would like to find out how. Was this a bucket list thing for you guys to hit all the races? When did this start? Is this something that you started last year that you decided to go on the full tour?
I've been thinking about this for years, but unfortunately, we've had a couple family tragedies that kind of came to attention that, life is short and precious. Linda just went through her second bout of breast cancer. Last year, we got home from St. Louis, and it was just, we had a great time. And she had a routine breast exam, and I was up north at our hunting club setting up a couple deer blinds. She called. Her breast cancer came back, and a year ago, November, she had to have a double mastectomy. But 4 years ago, she lost a son, and tragically, and through my life, my best friend, he died, tragic car accident, 21. My dad died young, and I, like I said, being somebody that's not outgoing, I didn't have a bunch of girlfriends or loud and a good dancer. I just decided maybe 5 years ago, if we could get a good combination, because the way we travel, you better have some horsepower or you're going to go home. And 3 years ago, we went to St. Louis. It was our last race. And with the engine I did, we had Austin Elvey at the double Lucas Oil event, lost first round to Austin Elvey, and then Corey Hopkins first round, the next one. So, and that's 1,100 miles away. So that was when we decided the horsepower. And then again, getting later on in life and seeing people, as you get older, you see more people pass. So I said, nah, let's do this. This is, like I said, it's a great. Linda never was around drag racing before I met her, and she quickly fell in love with it, with the people, fantastic people. The people are, and, there's a lot of downtime, but yeah, that was the thing. Life, enjoying life. So many people take life for granted. People don't save for retirement. They party their retirement, and then when they get old, they got to go, and they have to retire. Then they go work at Walmart, or they got to have another job, or they got to, and then it's unhappy. I just want to, when I'm sitting on the porch and I can't go no place, I want to be able to sit and say, hey, I talked to Bobby and the guys on Class Racer, and we won the Baby Gators. We did the Trifecta. We fantastic. It's, I'm really fighting back tears. It's, I'm one guy that really love this sport, and the people, people are just, like I said, great. Can't say enough.
Well, Tim, we thank you for joining us and wish you lots of luck this weekend. Now, if we do get some racing in, competitors, I just want to let you know that make that run count, because it will probably be your only one. So if you get one qualifying hit Thursday or Friday or Saturday, it's probably going to be the only one you get. So get them babies dialed in. I hope to see everybody down there. Come find me, stop me if I'm in my own world staring out into space. Tap me on the arm or punch me in the arm and say hello and let me interview you.
Okay, Bobby. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Linda. I look forward to meeting you this weekend too.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is Class Racing Today. Also, remember, if you want to help support the show, you can do that. ClassRacingToday.com. Go to the donate button, and you get to choose the value you get out of the show, turn it into dollars, and send it our way. Another great way that you can help support the show is actually telling more people to listen, sharing it out to those around you, other people in the industry, other racers that you see that maybe don't know about it. Tell them about it. That's a fantastic way to get it out there. Also follow us along the social medias, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Thanks a lot so much. Have a great time. See you all next week. This is Class Racing Today. Have a great day.